My name is Carolina Allen, and I am a Waldorf kindergarten teacher. I work with little children. I'm also the president of the board for Circle of Children, which ennobles and holds this amazing place. It's a new thing for me to step into, so leadership and working with people on a new level is the unknown that I'm stepping into, but I love people, so it's been lovely. I'm an artist. I discovered painting when I became a teacher and realized that I had this potential inside me to paint. I didn't know I could do that before, so having spent 33 years not being an artist and then stepping into knowing that I could make something with color on a piece of paper that looked beautiful or pretty and that inspired other people showed me that all people are artists and that creative potential that is inside all of us is a birthright, and that's the new paradigm for me, is helping people find their true potential and using their entire mind, body, soul, spirit, connected, and learning that they have potential that they've never tapped before, and that we all deserve to step into that. And so finding new ways to connect with communities and people so they can come here, so they can find that out for themselves and see the gifts that they really have. And some of us don't know what our gifts are until we're in our 50s and 60s. I mean, to help people find that sooner so they can do more with that and connect with others and move things forward. The time is now. It's really time. It's always been like a good idea and a change was necessary, but now it's like, now we really need to do that. And the children come first, because in 5 to 10 years, they're going to be holding some really major changes that are coming. So bringing art, beauty, gardens, good food, water, a love of what the world really is, the deep wisdom of the forest and the herbs, the things that are here all around us, upholding us all the time, that a lot of people don't even realize are literally a foot away in the forest. And bringing that to people in some new ways is why I'm here. Well, if they remember when they were 14 or 12 or 13 and there was something in their heart that they thought was beautiful about the world, or that they were passionate about, or a gift someone gave them and a story that meant something to them, there's probably a seed there that they should have been listening to all along. And if they can go back and remember those moments where somebody said something that made them go, ah, then there's juice there. And to trust in that juice and trust into those little seeds that are still inside them, because that's the nudge, that's where the nudge is coming from. And so if you've got a nudge and there's some memory or that piece that you've always held on to, then, trust in that. There's something there. I had no idea I was an artist and that I could paint anything at all. And I loved art people. I ended up the art director of an art hall and was like, why am I here? I'm a jock. I run a 452 mile. I'm a jock. This isn't, why did I get put in this dorm? This was when I was 21, but I got put in that dorm. And it was 12 years later that I discovered I could paint, but there are signs along the way that lead you where you're supposed to go, that come from spirit. And those are real, and everybody has them. If they start thinking and talking for 15 minutes about their life, they'll tell you those critical moments that were signposts and guideposts from spirit to go somewhere. And you just got to go back and start looking at your biography and your story, and sometimes you have to change your story. Sometimes you've created a new story for yourself that keeps you in that rigid place. That's not about trust, and it's about fear. And if you just change that story that little bit, read fairy tales. I mean, the good can conquer the bad. We can do it if we work together. You can conquer dragons. There are dragons. We can overcome them. We can make friends with them. Some of them are very wise. There's really good things out there. And people can discover that with other people. And
you're actually talking to two dragons.
Oh, good. Well, there's some wise dragons out there that I really love, wise dragons, and riding them is wonderful, So things like that are really important. And those are the things that I think people need to hear more of and trust in. Poetry, music, arts, all of those are our birthright to being creative, people in the new paradigm. And when we can get into those places and study, yoga or meditation or whatever it is that feeds you, something will come from there. Mm-hmm. Things will grow from there.
Beautiful.
And that stepping into the unknown usually means something's going to catch you, so I guess that's the best answer I can do.
Okay.
For now.
That's beautiful.
I mean, I've wanted to be a philanthropist since I was in 7th grade. Like, I wrote an essay and said, I want to be a philanthropist, and everyone laughed because they said you had to be rich to be able to do that. And I was like, you can always give to people. You can always help people. You don't need money to do that. Like, giving is easy. Like, everybody can do it. So abundance is just knowing that, I think, that we are rich beyond measure and we have everything that we need all the time in order to give to others and to work with the earth. And I mean, that's kind of it. Like, to me, like, it doesn't matter. I mean, money's great, but it doesn't make people really happy. And sometimes they trick themselves into thinking they are because they've got all this stuff. But their lives are empty a lot of the time. And every once in a while you meet a rich person who's truly happy. But that's because they usually found a way to ennoble it and to give it out and to share it with others and to make it grow. And if you're doing that, then great, because there's a lot of people who could use that little help, you know. But if you're empty and you're surrounded by a whole bunch of stuff in a beautiful mansion and you're unhappy, then, you know, come visit us. We don't have anything, you know, and we're very happy most of the time.
Aside from the forest.
Aside from we have everything, but I mean, in terms of the money stuff, we don't have a lot. We have an amazing place, though, where people can step into all kinds of things that they can learn, even just learning how to work hard. I mean, I see people all the time and they have no will, like the will to like really work hard. They don't know how to do it. It's like they were never taught how to work, and the joy that comes from washing a mound of dishes, or, you know, things like that a lot of people don't have. Working in a garden, you know, those are things you can't pay for. And when you have them and you're doing them regularly and rhythmically and you're aligned with the stars and the sun in the morning and dew, you know, then you'll find joy. You know, like, joy will show up. Well, I highly recommend Waldorf education. I'm a Waldorf teacher. I love it. Homeschooling is a wonderful thing too. But if you can find a way that allows for art, for children to connect with the natural world and what's really real, which is real earth, real soil, the actual sun in the morning when they're little, and uphold them with real food and real cooking and real work and an abundant ability to play and have imagination, to invent whole worlds when they're little, so that they have that as a wellspring later on when they're in their 20s. They know how to imagine world upon world upon world with multiple layers because they've been doing it since they were little children. They'll have the capacity to be flexible, to be creative, to create something that has never been done before, so that we can actually change the evolution of humanity. If they don't ever have that kind of time to just dream and create as a child, then that capacity isn't going to be the same. So if they're watching TV and in a rigid program learning conceptual mathematical equations and how to read when they're 3, so you can, you know, show them off to their grandparents, you're stunting their growth in real ways. So let them have beauty, truth, goodness, reality, real work, and a ton of ways to play. And that will lead them towards having the capacity to be the creative beings that we're all meant to be.
Awesome.
Gosh. I mean, love is a big thing. You know, it's kind of the biggest one. It's the heart of what we all motivates most of us, and it's the thing that we share with every single human being. It's one of the things that separates us from the plants and the animals and the stones, even though it affects the plants and the animals and the stones, and it's in them too, but we have a special way to do that. I don't know. I call it, like, I tell the children to listen to the singing of the stars, and if they can still hear it, then I'll let them have the sword of light, and they can play with it in the garden. You know, it's like, so, like, you know, things like that we try to do to, like, connect with our hearts and connect with, and I think love is a connection between body, mind, and spirit. It's not just your heart. It's your thought, clearly spoken, that's brought into your heart and then put into your will so that you can do the right thing at the right moment and for the good of the whole. And you know, obviously, we all fall in love with each other all the time. So, like, we all know what that part is. You know, the romantic love is, you know, beautiful. I think that takes a lot of inner work. I think you need to practice some kind of spiritual practice, some kind of meditative practice maybe some kind of study. Everybody's different and has a different way of thinking and being, so you can't just say everyone do yoga and they're all going to be okay. It may not work for some people. Some people are really heady and they need, philosophy to be inspired, and that feeds their soul, and then something else can come. But something. And personally, for me, it's movement and connection with nature, and it's being outdoors, and taking real time to sleep, maybe on ground sometimes, a couple times a year at least, not with a pad, but just feeling what real Earth feels like, and gravity and stars, and connecting with those things, and knowing what a full season is in your area, and what grows, and when things die, and when seeds are there, and when to harvest. I mean, all those things for me connect me to the world and connect me to beauty and joy. But I think for everybody it's different. I can't recall high level philosophy in a way that I could recreate it for you 20 minutes later. But there are people who can read major philosophy and be totally inspired to recreate it and teach 20 other people right afterward. And they should do that. They should do that a lot, and I would like to listen to them. But for me, it's more coming from art, beauty, poetry, music, things like that people can create for me, and studying that if I can, or practicing that for myself. What's music? Music is the singing of the spheres. Music is everywhere. Music's the sound of the pattering of rain. It's the way that human beings can sing from their larynx and bring it out. And it's all the instruments we've learned to create. And it's connecting us with our birthright to create creation. It's the logos. The initial word that starts creation came from sound and tone and movement. And music is the way that we can connect to that. And so, yet again, it's one of those essential birthright things that we all need to do and discover for ourselves somehow. And if we can get children to do all those things, then we've done an amazing thing. Wow. So the long-term evolution of humanity in my lifetime. I would sure like education to truly transform, so that education could actually be held in a way that really helped children become whole and able to use as much of their brains and their heart that they have. My children went through the Waldorf school, and to see what they're doing compared to what other children are doing, it, you know, full ride scholarship, creates youth conferences at 15, amazing art, beautiful music. I mean, the things that my daughter can do, she's amazing, and she just does it because she's just into it. She's not like, she doesn't care. She's just doing it because why not? And that should be every child. They should just be able to do that many things and have that many gifts that they can make use of, so that when they're coming upon a real challenge that the world is facing, they're like, they can bring all of that to bear. And if everybody was like that, and none of us had so much fear, and we weren't so regimentalized into these specialties and into having to get loans to go to school and then get loans to build a house and be indentured servants to, this system, like, there's just so much possible. It's hard to really put that into words, but to see a world that was like that, I mean, that would be amazing. Mm-hmm. Freedom, to actually truly understand what freedom is, and every individual had it and had a system that could back that up and uphold that. Like, I don't know quite how to get there looking at the world today, but that's the world that I keep wanting to be a part of. We are the ones we've been waiting for. There isn't anyone else here. We are the ones that are here, and the new beings that are coming behind us are walking in our footsteps. So, the more that we learn to do and to give to the ones that are around us, and to uphold and free up the others that are waiting for the nudge, but they have it in them, then, then that's what we all need to do. Everybody who can learn to give and learn to what's the word, to mature their temperament, whatever their personality type is, into something that can really be of service to others and let go of the stuff for themselves. Amazing things happen when you're able to do that, and you step out of just your own little bubble and start working with everyone else, and then, we can do it. I mean, movements begin from one person. One drop of rain inspires the next one, and then there's a rainstorm, and then there's no drought. Yeah, we can do it.
Thank you so much, Carolina.
Yeah, thank you.
Could I have a hug?
Yes.